this course. The Democratic Party was the party that was skeptical of the domination of our government by corporate power. Today, the Democratic Party is the party of big pharma, big tech, big ag, big food, the military-industrial complex, Wall Street, and it's the party of Dick Cheney and John Bolton. It's a party that I absolutely do not recognize. These are the guys who wrote the Patriot Act. They introduced surveillance and censorship for our country. They got us into the Iraq War, the worst catastrophe, foreign policy catastrophe in American history. And Bolton and Cheney, 225 other neocons, have now endorsed Kamala Harris.
All of the things, the qualities, characteristics, values, principles that Bobby just described of the Democratic Party he grew up in was what drew me to join the Democratic Party when I was 21 years old. It's interesting to see how unrecognizable that party is today, and how that once big tent open party, big tent party that welcomed people from different backgrounds, different views, different ideas, encouraged discussion and debate and dialogue around all of the different issues, and still were able to leave rooted in our grounding and founding principles that are enshrined in the Constitution, just does not exist anymore. The reason that I ran for Congress was largely motivated by the experiences that I had had as a soldier deployed to the Middle East. I was in a medical unit serving in Iraq in 2005. And it was there that I was, first of all, it changed my life. It changed my worldview because I experienced firsthand and saw firsthand the cost of war and who pays the price. I saw the American people. I saw firsthand the war profiteering that goes on by the military-industrial complex firsthand. Who here has heard of Halliburton? Who here knows how closely associated Dick Cheney is to Halliburton? In our camp in Iraq, we're about 50 miles north of Baghdad. Every single thing from porta potties to trash cans, guess what branded label was on there? KBR Halliburton. I used to, we made friends. We had a unit of soldiers from across Hawaii and the Pacific, and we bring our aloha with us everywhere, and so we made a lot of friends with the workers, the contractors who were hired to work on those camps and these different jobs, the drivers, the people who picked up the trash and so forth. And on the weekends, we'd have little cookouts in the back of our tents with them. And we asked them, how much are you making? And very often what we found was they were making like subpar wages, $500 a month, people who came from the Philippines, Sri Lanka, Nepal, all of these other countries, making $500 a month, working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And when you take how much they are getting paid with the hundreds of billions of dollars that we know companies like KBR Halliburton were making, it was absolutely disgusting. I ran for Congress and later ran for president in 2020 because I left that deployment and the one that followed wanting to be in a position where I could help bring back the Democratic Party of President Kennedy, where I could make those decisions related to war and to peace and to how my brothers and sisters in uniform were treated when they came home. Within 6 months of my being in Congress, I was elected in 2012, President Obama made an announcement that he wanted to seek authorization from Congress to go and start another regime change war in the Middle East, this time in Syria. I was on the Foreign Affairs Committee at the time. Again, I'd been in Congress maybe 6 months, freshman Democrat. I did my research, I listened to their briefings. Then it was Secretary of State Kerry who was coming to our committee and making their case. And they failed to answer even the most basic questions. And this is directly connected to the failures of the Harris-Biden administration. The first thing that you have to ask and be able to answer before you go on a mission is what? What is your objective? What are you trying to accomplish? What does winning look like? What's your exit strategy? These are things that you probably think of when you're making decisions in your own lives. What are you trying to accomplish? They couldn't answer those questions. And when they said, oh, we want to go deliver a punch in the gut, send a message. I said, what happens when they deliver a punch back? Oh, they won't do that. I did my due diligence. I announced that I would be opposing President Obama's request to go and start another war. And in less than 24 hours, I got a call from the White House. And it wasn't a call saying, hey, Tulsi, we just wanted to see what questions you had or figure out why you oppose this so strongly. What they said was, how dare you? Wow. How dare you stand against your president? How dare you stand against, as a freshman Democrat, your president who is from your home state of Hawaii? They didn't care about the substance. They didn't care about the experiences that I was bringing and the voices that I was bringing to light of those who I served alongside and those who were killed in combat and never came home. This speaks to the dangerous mindset of today's Democrat Party, which is one of the main reasons why I left.
Years ago, Tulsi was, I think, the deputy director of the DNC. Here's just a short one, and we promise that we'll let you talk. I was asked to become a vice chair of the Democratic National Committee 2 weeks after I took my oath of office as a member of Congress. 2 weeks. When they called me and said, hey, would you like to do this job? I said, what is a vice chair of the DNC? What do you really want me to do? The reality was they saw the piece of paper and the picture and they said, oh, she checks all of these identity politics boxes. That'll be good. Little did they know, I think for myself, I'm an independent. And when that call came from the White House, I gotta believe they had a little bit of regret. But it was too late. I want to ask before we turn it over to Zach and get it. We've done a lot of things we want to talk about, but I think it's important to see who is in the room here tonight. I want to see your hand raised if you're a Democrat or a former Democrat or an independent, libertarian. There you go. There are so many people across our country, and I just want to say this is a great credit to President Trump, that he is doing today what the Democratic Party used to do, which is to welcome people into the cause of freedom, peace, and prosperity, so that we can stand together as Americans.
Very well said.